Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to another show today. Okay, we got Carrie from Pet Bereavement today. We'll be talking all pet bereavement when Carrie comes in. I know she's on there. She's trying to get in.
Yeah, my camera's not working. Sorry.
Your camera's not working.
No, sorry.
Okay, so we just talk like this then. Okay, that's fine. Not a problem. Can you explain to everybody what you do as pet bereavement?
Yeah, so I'm a pet bereavement counsellor. So I basically help people pre and post loss of a companion animal, and I help people either that are struggling to make a decision to say goodbye, or are struggling after they've made the decision, or are still struggling with losing a companion months or years later. Basically, if you've lost a companion animal and you're finding it difficult, or you don't have anyone to talk to or any support, then I'm here to help you.
Yeah. What's the difference between ordinary when someone dies, like as we, and a pet? Is it different?
Personally, I don't see a difference between losing like a human family member and an animal family member, because I personally think that pets are family, and they're seen by a lot of people as equal to, if not in some cases, felt like they're treated with more. I don't know that there's more of a stronger bond with pets in someone's life than with actual people in their lives sometimes. So to me, I don't see a difference between losing a pet and losing a human family member. I think that the loss that is felt is just as valid whether it's human or animal, and that I find that a lot of my clients, when they've lost a pet, that they either feel as strongly as they did when they've lost a human relative, or in some cases they actually feel as if this loss has hit them harder.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Kerry? Do you know when someone kind of like loses their dog or a cat and everything, and they come to you and they need help and everything?
Mm-hmm.
Do you supply all the do you do the burial as well? Get involved in the burial?
I don't know. I mean, I can direct people to organisations and, give them advice on what questions to ask and where to seek that service. But no, I just stick to the the therapy side of things. But like I said, I do have contacts that I can guide people towards to, if they're looking to say they're looking for a good crematorium, or they're looking for coffin options or urn options. So I can help in that way, but I don't actually do the physical assisting with any like the actual burial or cremation side of things.
I was looking on some notes today, and when we suffer a bereavement, the pet bereavement, it's the same as we, kind of like bereavement. It's the same bereavement as we kind of like, lose a loved one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We get all the numbness, and we get, all the anger and pain and out.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable, really, because sometimes we kind of like we're thinking, well, it can't be the same as, what we're feeling if one of our loved ones are died and everything. But we got a pet in it, and it does.
Yeah, definitely. This is the thing. I think there are a lot of people out there that do get that the loss can be felt just as keenly as if it was a human loss. But there are still those who don't get it or don't quite understand how you could feel as strongly, if not more so, at losing a pet than you could at losing a human friend or family member. But I think that's why it's important that there are people like such as myself out there to support people, because, you know, if you've lost a pet, you may be thinking, is this normal to feel the way I do? Should I be feeling like this? They weren't a person. But that's mainly because, like, society still says, oh, well, you know, the losses are incomparable, you know, it's not the same. But yet when you look at, like you said, you know, when you look at the way the loss presents itself and the way the grief presents itself, the only difference is the species of the lost loved one. You know, the emotions and the feelings are the same.
Yeah, I never looked at this before, and I read it today, and I was thinking, well, this is like nearly the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I've learnt something. Um, what it is, why I asked you to come on again for, is because there was something I want to touch on, which I didn't last time,
Okay.
and where's my notes too? And it says here about when you got to kind of like put your pet down.
Yeah.
If they the vet say you got to put your pet down, and really that you don't want to.
Mm.
How do you kind of um, give comfort to somebody who's got to put their pet down, because it's going to be a big loss to them, isn't it?
Yeah. So for anyone that's facing making the decision, whether they've come to the decision themselves or whether the vet has advised them that euthanasia may be in their pet's best interests, then what I will do is I will talk to the person about what's been going on with their pet, why it's got to this point, and really just listen to their fears and try and answer any questions they may have, because I think a lot of the fear comes from the unknown and not knowing what to expect, but also the fear of the intensity of the emotions that they may feel when their pet has died. And so I will usually just go through what happens or what I've experienced in the past as happening during a euthanasia appointment, like before and after and during the appointment, and try to, as I say, answer any questions people may have, but also help them to see it from a different viewpoint. So some people may see it as, I've had people say to me, like, I feel like I killed my pet. I feel like a murderer. I feel like a killer, and they feel awful. They're absolutely traumatized by the fact that they've had to end their pet's life. But I
What do they
ask,
blame them? Do they blame themselves?
they do, yeah, because ultimately the vets can like guide you towards the best options,
Yeah.
and advise you, but ultimately it's the owner that obviously gives consent, and owner, it's a big decision to have to make, and obviously it's you're actually saying, to end the life of your companion, and it's a very big decision. And so what I try and do is help people to see it from a different perspective. So rather than them seeing it as like, they've killed their pet, or they feel, I try and ask people to see it as they made the decision that enough was enough, that their pet was either suffering or was had had a condition where suffering was going to be, was going to happen at some point. And as their best friend, they've said, look, enough is enough. I don't want you to either go through that, or I don't want you to carry on going through that. And that owner has said that, that there's no quality of life. This is the best thing I can do. And I'll say to people, look, you made the best decision, not the easiest, because the decision to say goodbye and to make an appointment and consent to euthanasia is never easy. And it's something that takes a lot of thought, and it's something that can weigh heavily on somebody's mind, but ultimately it is a very selfless decision because you are doing it for them, not for you, you know. And so, as I've said, I try to help people to see that they've made a very selfless decision. They've put their pets' needs above their own, because surely, you know, we would want our pets to live forever and ever. And but if they're suffering, whether that's mentally or physically, then we know that we love them enough to say, look, we don't want that to happen. And we have the option to say, look, you know, I don't want them to suffer. I don't want them to feel any pain or distress, and we can do something about it.
Yeah,
But it doesn't make it an easy decision, though.
yeah, yeah. It was hard, you know. It's but the trouble is, you'll see what. That's why if I have a pet, I always
Mm.
take photos and
Yeah.
you know, and kind of like I used to write down on a piece of paper about you know about my dog. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah.
And because if anything happened to it, I could look back and remember it that way, or look at the photos and everything. And
Yeah.
sometimes that can help, can it, Kerry?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Because, like, photos will, you know, bring back a memory. And for that moment, you're back in that moment where you took that photo, and you can, you know, remember your companion. And you can, you know, even though they've passed, you can still write to them and, you know, draw pictures for them and talk to them. You know, whatever brings you some peace and a bit of comfort is absolutely fine. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's really a shame. It says here, uh, um, it can sometimes be hard for others to recognise the extent of the loss of your beloved pet, i.e., dog. Um, people say, people might say, you know, oh, but it's only a dog. But at the end of the day, you know, it could be that dog could be the only person that they got in their life. What do you think
Mm.
about that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's, to be honest, it's something that really bugs me is when people say, oh, it's just, you know, insert whatever species you lost, because it's downplaying what that person's going through. And it's, you know, it's just, I don't know. I can't understand why people would say things like that, like, oh, it's just a dog or it's just a cat. You can just get another one. Or, but it's not like losing your parent, though, is it? Or losing,
Yeah,
you know, and the thing is, I think for some people, they say it because they've never had that bond. So they truly don't understand why somebody would be so upset. And they've never um, been able to express their own grief over losing an animal that they've had. And so they've been brought up to think that, you know, losing a pet isn't worthy of grief or, you know, sadness, or they just want to fill a gap or in a conversation that, you know, if your grief is making them uncomfortable, there's something to say, oh, well, it's just a dog though, isn't it? As if it's trying to, you know, to move the conversation away from your feelings. And it's a shame because, you know, I just think even if you don't get it, at least try to sympathize with your friend or
mm,
whoever's
mm,
talking to you. At least, even if you don't truly understand it, at least be kind and just
yeah,
listen, you know. Yeah, but I think sometimes people will say it's just because in their mind they're probably, I don't know, I think some people may say it like that because they're trying not to get too upset. So they're saying, right,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just and it's their way of coping.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what
yeah.
people are like, I'm afraid. You know, there could
Mm,
be some nasty people out there too who, you know, don't care about people's feelings except for themselves.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Also, what I want to touch on is what is the worst thing that you ever been through as a pet bereavement?
Um, it's difficult, really. I mean, I've had a couple of clients in the past that I mean, all consults can be difficult, you know, because you're listening to
Mm-hmm.
somebody telling you about their pet that passed in whatever circumstances, and somebody's, you know, emotional and they're hurting, and So that can be difficult to listen to, because obviously, you know, you don't want to hear somebody in so much emotional pain and anguish. But some of the circumstances around losing pets that I've heard have been quite traumatic. And obviously, I can't go into details because of
No, you're not. No,
yeah, yeah.
confidentiality. Yeah.
But there was one that it was so tragic. I mean, they're all tragic in their own way, but this consult, what happened to this person's pet was so awful that after the session, I had to go and do something colourful and happy, and didn't take much thought, because I just needed to get it out of my head what I'd heard. So yeah, it's difficult. So I think that's the worst thing, is when you hear someone explain the very traumatic circumstances surrounding their loss, and you know, I mean, yeah, it's hard to hear, because it's not only hard to hear how that pet passed, but also you can hear the person reliving it as they're
Yeah.
telling you, and you just want to reach through the phone or the computer screen and just give them a hug and just make it go away, you know, make all the bad thoughts and memories go away. But all you can do is really listen, listen without rushing in, without judgment, without, you know, I don't know, and just let them talk and let them get it off the chest. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Um, Claire, from my radio site, she
Hmm.
said, hi, hi Carrie. I'm glad you're back again. Took me a lot last time. Can you explain the procedure if I came to you for counselling?
Yes, yeah. So if a person would like a counselling session with myself, they either book through my website or through my Facebook page. And what I do is, well, I offer phone consults, email, and Zoom, and or WhatsApp as well. And what I would do is I send out a pre-consult questionnaire, which basically asks questions like, obviously name, age, and name of your pet, age of your pet, where how long you've had your pet for, the circumstances surrounding the loss, and what you were struggling with the most. And the reason why I send this out prior to a session is because the answers that you provide help me to help you, because it means that I've already got the sort of a bit of a history, a bit of a backstory as to why you've come to me for help. And it also means that prior to the session, I'm already starting to try and formulate where, you know, how I could potentially help you. And so it just means that, because every session, apart from the email sessions, every session lasts an hour. And it means that I've already got a bit of the backstory, so that we can just get straight into it in the session and get straight into, you know, why you arranged the session in the first place, rather than me spending the first half an hour gathering the information that I need, or you know, you telling me why you've booked the appointment. I just feel that it means that we can just get stuck straight into it, and
Yeah, yeah,
then the full hour or most of the hour is dedicated to delivering the support that you need.
yeah. I think also that you, if you know, kind of like if you contact Carrie, if you can contact Carrie, contact me and I'll pass the information on. You know, and yeah, and then she'll be able to help you. Hang on a second. Yeah, I can do that. Yes, that's fine. Yeah, not a problem. Also, we've got Amanda here. She says, "Hi, Kerry. I've got a cat, and it's dying. I've asked for the cat um to be home with me until it dies.
Okay.
In the meantime, I'm being really depressed because I've had the cat since my husband died around about 10 years ago.
Okay.
Um, you know, what can I do, and
Mm.
who can I turn to? Do I get another cat to replace it? But the
Yeah.
trouble is, you can't replace a loved one that you had for a long time.
Yeah. I'm really sorry you're going through this and that you're facing this. What I usually say to people when they are given like a sort of a time frame, or they know that they're going to lose their companion, I usually say, obviously make every moment count, which I'm sure you already are doing. But now is, I would say, like, now's the time to tell them everything that you may one day wish you had said to them, and making the fur wet with kisses and cuddles wherever. Let them eat whatever they want, do whatever they want within reason, obviously. And taking photos. If there's a local photographer, I suggest to people having a photo shoot, so that instead of you being on the other side of the camera taking the photos of them, you can actually be in the photo with them, have a beautiful professional photo done, which after they've passed is a lovely tribute to them, and a photo that you can look back and treasure. And it's horrible facing losing a best friend like that, and especially when they are maybe the last living link to someone special that you've lost. And it can make the passing harder in some ways, because it almost feels like you're losing that person over again. And if you're struggling with the pre-loss, or how you may feel after, obviously you can get in touch with someone like myself or the Ralph site, have some good information and contact numbers. And it's really about just like I said, enjoying every moment, but not putting too much pressure on yourself, and just really enjoying the time you both have together. And as I said, not putting too much pressure on yourself to make it as like perfect. Just be yourself. Just enjoy it. And as I said, just tell them everything you may one day wish you had said. Have in place contact numbers for, say, if you wanted to send your companion to be cremated, or you're planning to have them buried. Look into what you would like to do after they've passed, which I know can seem difficult to do when they're still here. But the more plans you put into place, the slightly easier it is, because you'll be obviously hurting and emotional and maybe not thinking quite right. And so if you've already got plans in place, it can help you regain a sense of control over a situation that feels like, when it feels like the ground's just been, took away from you. So I hope that helps to some degree.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Um, Sometimes it's really difficult when you lose somebody, especially, a pet if you had it for a long time. And, it's really hard, isn't it, to come to terms with it?
Yeah, it is. It's different, yeah, because no matter how long you've had that companion for, you'll have built a bond with them, and you're losing an important part of your life, or a part of your life that we have a different bond with our animals than we do with our friends and our family members. And they're usually with us most of the day, into everything that we're doing, never far from our side, like a little shadow. And so when they pass, it's a loss of routine, or it's hard to, your whole day just changes, because without realizing it, your day revolved around your companion to some degree. And so there's a lot of things that we're having to come to terms with: the loss of the physical presence, the loss of the visual presence, and the loss of routine, and the changes to relationships. And it's a lot when you think about it. You're not just experiencing the grief and the pain of losing them, but also what they represented and how they fit in with your life as well. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with, and I think a lot of the time we don't realise just how much of an impact losing a companion animal has.
Yeah, yeah. Carrie, thank you very much for your time once
You're
again
welcome.
tonight.
Thank
And
you.
thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Sometimes in life, when we lose somebody close to us, it could be a human, human being, or a pet. There is love there, and it'll be difficult for me to pick my wife up and stroke her and say, everything's going to be all right. But with an animal, you can't do that. You can give it cuddles. Well, you probably can give your wife cuddles as well. I love giving my wife a cuddle. But the trouble is, when you lose somebody in life, it's really tough and really hard. And if you lose a pet, okay, just make sure that, just give them the love and the respect that they deserve, because at the end of the day, we got a life and the pet had a life. See 8:30. Don't forget to tune in 8:30. We've got Elvis is in the house. David Black. I'll see you later on. Bye bye. See you about 8:30. I'm off now to watch the football. Bye bye.